This is an ABP Life podcast.
So, state elections in Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh are just round the corner. And just like every other elections, political parties are going to take out large-scale campaigns, rallies, processions, put up hoardings on every single nook and corner of the streets, travel to and fro between cities in choppers, etc., etc. And all of this costs crores and crores of rupees. But where do they get all this money from? Who gives the political parties so much money? Let's decode all of this today. So welcome to Clear Cut, only on ABP Live podcast. I'm your newsman Rudrashish, and today let's talk about the controversial electoral bonds. Now this topic is a little tricky to understand, and I'll try my best to make it simple for you guys. I sacrificed my whole weekend to understand this whole thing. So let's get started. Now, electoral bonds are an instrument through which anyone can donate money to political parties. Such bonds, which are sold in multiples of rupees 1,000, rupees 10,000, rupees 1 lakh, rupees 10 lakh and rupees 1 crore, can be brought from authorized branches of the State Bank of India. As such, a donor is required to pay the amount, say for example rupees 10 lakh, via a check or a digital mechanism to the authorized SBI branch. Cash is not allowed. The donor can then give this bond to the political party or parties of their choice. The political parties can choose to encash such bonds within 15 days of receiving them and fund their electoral expenses. On the face of it, the process ensures that the name of the donor remains anonymous. So basically, these bonds are on the lines of bearer bonds or promissory notes, wherein the issuer is the custodian and pays the one who holds the bonds, which in this case the issuer is the bank and the holder of the bonds are political parties. Now these bonds can only be encashed by political parties which are registered under Section 29A of the Representation of the People's Act 1951 and had secured at least 1% of the votes polled in the most recent Lok Sabha or state elections. Now, one of the main reasons for the introduction of electoral bonds was to bring transparency in the electoral fundings in India and stop the flow of black money into political parties. In the Union Budget speech on February 1st, 2017, the then Finance Minister Arun Jaitley had endorsed the idea of such a mechanism. Mr. Jaitley had proposed two changes in electoral funding. Firstly, he reduced the amount of money that a political party could accept in cash from anonymous sources, from rupees 20,000 to rupees 2,000. And secondly, he announced the introduction of electoral bonds as a way to make such a funding more transparent. But this mechanism of electoral bonds has been subject to tremendous criticism, many labeling it as a legal scam. So the key critique is that for something meant to bring transparency to the system, electoral bonds actually make political fundings more opaque, but only for the public. Companies don't have to say who they are donating money to, and parties don't need to say from whom they are getting the cash. Moreover, the other changes regarding foreign firms and profitable companies means that electoral bonds could easily be used by shell firms that have no actual business or profit as a way of channeling money into politics. Similarly, the process ensures that the name of the donor remains anonymous, which is actually not true. It's a web that the government had been misleading political donors that their names will remain anonymous, when in reality, the bonds carry hidden unique alphanumeric sequences which is not visible to the naked eye. These numbers can eventually lead to the donor and receiver of the bonds. Doesn't seem much anonymous to me. Now, electoral bonds can be bought only during specific windows of time. The last window had opened in July this year. Moreover, before the introduction of electoral bonds, there was a cap on how much a company could donate to a political party, which was 7.5% of the average net profits of a company in the preceding 3 years. But the government amended the Companies Act to remove this limit, therefore leading to unlimited funding by companies. Critics have also urged that State Bank of India doesn't respond to right to information queries regarding electoral bonds without the permission of Finance Ministry, despite being an independent public authority under the RTI Act. Even the RBI governor during that time, Mr. Urjit Patel, was a strong opposer of electoral bonds. He said that allowing a scheme like the electoral bonds is fraught with considerable risk and would damage the reputation of the central bank irreparably. And guess what? This is exactly what had happened. RKW Developers, a company at the heart of a probe by Enforcement Directorate for carrying out transactions with Iqbal Memon, who was accused in the 1993 Mumbai bomb blast, had donated 10 crore rupees to the BJP. So now the question is, are electoral bonds the biggest legal scam in India? I don't know. Is the earth round or flat? Can birds fly? Do fish get thirsty? Will I get into trouble for doing this? As I said, I don't know. So let's leave it at that. So that's all the news and scoops I have for you today. Today's episode was produced by Lalit. This is your newsman Rudrashish Kanjilal signing off. Have a wonderful day and keep listening to ABP Live podcasts.
This is an ABP Live podcast.